Okay, so good morning.
Good morning.
So we are absent. No one. Okay. So our lesson for today would be poetry elements and
Concept.
concept. Okay, so before that, I want you to group yourself sa kanyang learning. So, for the red and the pink. So, mag-prepare na lang kayong dalawa. I want you to write the different elements that you know about poetry. The different poetry elements na alam mo.
Anong gamit ng phone?
Yung elements ng poetry. We're going to write what are the elements of poetry that you know. You may look up your assignments. Yung assignment yun. Okay, so please name one. Princess. Name one of the poetry elements that you know.
Written.
Okay, rhythm. What about Jana?
Meter.
Meter, very good. Any other ideas? Ano pa yung mga alam mo? Aside from rhythm and meter. We have the ano ba?
Stanza. Theme.
Theme. Okay. So those elements will be tackled with our discussion for today. And before that, I want you to define those. I want you to present your assignments. So what is about meter? Oh, meter.
Meter. This is a basic structure. Plural make-up of the poem to the syllables match with each other. Every line in the poem must adhere to the structure. A poem is made up of blocks of lines, which convey a single stand of thought within those blocks. A structure of syllables which follow the rhythm has to be included. This is the meter or the metrical form for poetry.
Okay. So first, what is poetry? Poetry is?
Poetry
Is
is
a
a literature poetry in a metrical form or a composition forming rhythmic lines.
Okay, so poetry is metric. So metrical. So from the word meter. So meter is the syllabication of each line. So meron tayong anim yung bibilangin natin. Kunwari, bigyan kayo ng poem. Alam mo. Ang asong si Bantay. Bao. Diba? Mga ganun din. Ano na yun? Si Bantay. Si Bantay. Okay, three yun. That is three metrical lines. So when it comes to meter, that is the representation of the syllables. Kung ilan yung masasabi mo na syllables. So ang syllable is, kunwari, let's use the word routine. So, routine. We have two syllables. So, in metric, dun sa meter, when it comes to poem, for example, there is a line here. God said, I made a man. How many meters are there? Ilang syllables ang meron doon? There are 6. God said, I made a man. So, that would be 6. And what about on the next slide? But so bright, he is fun. But so bright, he is fun. So that would be 7. So 6, 7, 6, 7. That would be the meter. Kung ilang syllables ang nasa isang linya. Clear? What about the next element? The rhythm.
Rhythm.
So rhythm is
This is the music made by the statement of the poem, which includes the syllables in the lines. The best method of understanding this is to read the poem aloud and understand the stressed and unstressed syllables.
okay. So the rhythm is just like the tone. Yung pagkaka-pronounce. Kunwari, there's the poem. Napakaganda ng buhay kapag mayroong hanap buhay. We have the rhythm. Kung yung end niya, di ba? Napakaganda ng buhay kapag may hanap buhay. High, high. There is a high tone and then the low tone, but have the last, yung last na word or yung last na masasabi mo high, high. Yun yung nasa ending niya. Yung pronunciation na nasa ending niya, that would be like the rhythm. Bigay pa ka kayo ng poem na merong pagkakapare-pareho sa dulo. Ano ba? Yung mga poem niya nung mga ano kayo. Ang maliliit na gagamba, umakyat sa sanga. Diba? The end, you hear the ending, ang maliliit na gagamba, umakyat sa sanga. There is a rhythm. Okay? So, what about the other element? Number 3.
Stanza. Stanza is poetry is defined as a smaller unit or group of lines or a paragraph in a poem. A particular stanza has a specific meter ring, scheme, etc. Based on the number of lines, stanza are named as coupled.
Okay, that would be okay. So, in short, stanza are yun yung parang paragraph sa isang poem. Diba? Parang paragraph sa mga stories ganun. So, stanza is a group of lines. Diba? Nandun yun, sinabi niya. Group of lines. So, in a normal poem, ilan linya ang meron minsan? Ang lagi niyong nababasang poems.
Dalawa.
Ilang lines?
Ay,
Dalawa? Pwedeng dalawa?
apat.
Usually, apat. Diba? 4 lines. And then, next stanza, 4 lines again. That is a stanza. So, stanza is a group of lines. 4, 5, 6. Usually 6 or 7 for sonnets naman. Yun yung pang mga mahabang poem. Okay? So, what about the other element? Number 4.
Rhyme. A poem may or may not have a rhyme. When you write poetry that has rhyme, it means that the last words or sounds of the lines match with each other in some form. Rhyme is basically similar sounding words like cat and hat, clothes and shoes, house and mouse, etc.
Let me check it. So, rhythm, rhyme pala. Para siyang rhythm din. So, rhyme is, just like what I said a while ago, the end or the start, magkakapareho yung tunog, yung sound. So, cat, yung ending nun, there is a big cat hiding in a hat. Then, there is a big mouse.
House.
There is a big mouse hiding in front of the house. Parang ganun. So, in the ending, there is that sound that you will hear na magkapareho sila ng tunog. Okay? So, in the rhythm naman, that would include the syllables in the line. So, that is the difference. So, in the rhythm, there is also the sound inside the lines. Hindi lang siya doon sa ending. Meron ka rin mapapakinggan sa gitna, sa start, start, or sa middle, or sa ending. That would be rhythm. And what about the rhyme? It is in the end. Okay? understand the difference of the rhythm and the rhyme? So what about the next element? Princess. The rhyme scheme. So rhyme scheme. What is rhyme scheme?
Rhyme scheme.
Scheme.
As a constitution of rhyme, the
Rhyme.
rhyme scheme is also one of the basic elements of poetry.
Mhm.
In simple words, it is defined as the pattern of rhyme. Either the last word of the first and second line rhyme, which is other, or the first and the third, second and the fourth, and so on. It is denoted by alphabets like A, B, B, first line rhyming with second, third, and with fourth. First with ABAB, first with third, second, and fourth. ABBA, first with fourth, second with third, etc.
Okay. So here is an example. Let us read the first line, second line, third line, fourth line. Please read.
God said,
said,
I made a man by Jose Garcia Villa. God said, I made a man out of clay, but so bright he is fun, himself the brightest day.
Okay. So what did you notice? So in here, the rhyme scheme would be the man, and then
Out of
nilaktawan na Jamesa. Man, and then span. So that would be A, tapos A din yun. And what about B? Play, and then day. So that pattern is A, B, A, B. Do you understand the rhyme scheme? Right scheme is the patterns of the endings. Yung sound. Just like that is the pattern of the rhyme. So A, B. A, man. A din yung span kasi magkapareho sila ng tunog. So, next line, play, B. Ito na yung B, yung play. And then, day. Okay? So, next line na naman, sabi niya, gold. Tapos, ninakawan naman yung day ko eh. And O, sabi niya, he was handsome to behold. Oh, gold, and then behold. And then, but in his hands held he a bow, sabi niya. So, O, and bow. Do you understand the rhyme scheme? A, B, A, B. Tapos, iba na naman yung tunog niya, gold. Magiging C na yan. Tapos, magiging D na yun, yung O. So, A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D. Do you get it? Pag nagbago yung kunwari, nagtuloy pa rin naman ito, hindi to gold, man, A pa din yun. Pero kung nag-iba yung sound, iba yung tunog, that would be letter B. Ay, C pala, yung gold. Magiging C na yung gold kasi nag-iba na yung sound na hindi na siya tunog man, hindi na siya tunog span. Do you get it? So the pattern of this poem would be A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D. Get nyo? Princess, do you get it? Okay. So, what about the next element? Tapos na tayo sa rhyme scheme. Remember that rhyme scheme is the pattern, the A, B, A, B. Meron din tayong poem na A, A, B, B, gano'n. So, next is theme. Okay.
Theme. This is what the poem is all about. The theme of the poem is the central idea that the poet wants to convey. It can be a story, or a thought, or a description of something or someone. Anything that the poem is about.
Okay. So, the theme is the main idea of the poem. What is the poem talking about? So, there is a poem talking about love. The theme is about love. The theme is about happiness. The theme is about sadness. It depends on the author. Okay? So, the theme is the main idea or the main point that the poem is talking about. And that would be the seventh element. Am I right? What about the eighth? Ay, 6 pala yun. So, 7 na tayo. Ano yung 7?
Symbolism. Often poems will convey ideas and thought using symbols. A symbol can stand for many things at one time and leads the reader out of the systematic and structured method of looking at things. Often, a symbol used in a poem will be used to create such an effect.
Okay. So, symbolism. Ano ba ang symbolism sa tingin niyo? So, in our past lesson, meron tayo yung word na so, meron tayo nung idea kanina yung chains. So, chain is a symbolism of what? Diba? Chain of symbolism of slavery. Diba? Yung hindi pagiging malaya. Chain is a symbol of pagkakakulong sa kung saan ka man nakukulong. Sa depression or nakulong ka dahil sa droga. Chains are symbol of pagkaka-restrain, pagkakakulong, diba? So, any other symbolism? Give me a thing that symbolizes something. For example, the color red. What does it symbolize?
Valentine's.
Yes, wedding Valentine's. Any other, princess? Puso. What can red symbolize when it comes to poems? O kahit sa love. Can symbolize love. Sa poem, pwedeng pink, pwedeng red. It can symbolize love both. Okay? So, kapag red kasi, that would be passionate love. And the pink one is teenage love. Parang lang siya, pure love. Okay. Pwede rin naman na rose. That can also symbolize love. What about clouds? Clouds put me up high. Parang ganon. So, clouds, it can symbolize purity. Ano ba? Pagiging pure. Pwede symbolize ng clouds. Kasi kulay, puti siya. Tapos clear siya. What about skies? Sky. Heaven. Diba? It symbolizes peace. May mga bagay sa paligid natin na nagsisimbolize ng mga bagay din. May mga actual na hindi, kumbaga sa poem, ang symbolism, hindi niya sinasabi ng direkta yung isang bagay. Kumbaga, sinasabi ay, kunwari na sabi ng ang feelings ng author ay malungkot siya. So, ang sasabihin niya dun sa tula niya, the clouds are gloomy. The rain is dropping hard today. O, ganun. So, what is the feeling of the author doon? Sa tingin niyo? This feeling. So, the author said, the clouds are dark, the rain is dropping hard. Ganon. That is the purpose of symbolism. Hindi niya sinasabi ng direkta yung mga bagay-bagay. Sinasabi niya lang kung ano yung nasa paligid niya. Pero may pinapakita yun na expression or feelings. So when you read poems, huwag kayong basta-basta maniniwala dun sa sinasabi niya lang na doon. You have to read between the lines. Okay? So the last idea, the last element that you can share.
Imagery.
Imagery.
Imagery. Imagery is also one of the important elements of a poem. This device is used by the poet for the readers to create an image in their imagination. Imagery appeals to all the five senses. For e.g., when the poet describes the flower is bright red, an image of a red flower is immediately created in the reader's mind.
Okay. So that's it. Just like the symbolism that I said a while back, the rain is, the clouds are dark, the rain is dropping hard. So, sa imagery, nakikita mo, pag binabasa mo yung poem, nai-imagine mo kung ano, kung nasaan yung author, kung ano yung ginagawa ng author. Diba? Through imagery. Sa symbolism, yun yung mga bagay na ang ginamit niya para i-symbolize kung ano yung nararamdaman niya. Well, the imagery, ito yung pinapasok ng author para ma-imagine ng reader kung ano yung sinasabi niya. Okay? Do you get it? Okay. So, before we discuss our main topic, I want you to try to define these words. First is
He spun himself to brightest day. Number 2, who am I, the fountainhead? Who am I, thy fountainhead? Number 3, of this thou regal head. Number 4, giving us heritage, this is I let this poem.
So, here are the words. So, span means
Turn or cause to turn around quickly.
okay. So, span is parang past tense ng spin. So, I span. Ganon. That is turning. Inikot ka. So, what about the
Fountainhead, an original source of something.
Okay. So, fountainhead, yun yung pinaka original na pinagkunan ng word o kaya ng idea. Parang creator. Fountainhead yun. Okay, regal.
Regal, of resembling or fit for a monarch, especially in being magnificent or dignified.
Okay, so regal. Ito yung mga noblemen. Ano ba ang Korean? So regal, so hindi naman siya kailangan Korean titlo. Regal is someone kagaya ng vice president na pwedeng maging head. Parang pwedeng maging leader ng monarch. So when it says monarch, yung parang pwedeng maging king, pwedeng maging prinsipe. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng regal. Next.
Heritage, property that is already inherited or an inheritance.
Inheritance. What about islet?
Islet, a small island.
Okay. So, heritage, yun yung mana. Yung manang matatanggap, di ba? So, next is the islet. What is islet? Small island. Malit na sila. Yes? Okay, let's move on to our discussion. Before that pala, kailangan natin ng guiding questions. We will answer this after our discussion. Nababasa niyo ba? Okay, so number 1. Jana, please read number 1.
What is the poem all about?
Okay. Next, Princess.
Is the relationship of the past and present relevant in the text?
And number 3.
What attribute of God is being described in the poem?
Okay.
How did God react to the ingratitude of the creation?
And lastly,
How are the actions of the men in the past significant to your situation right now?
okay. So it's something related to what we have. So, this is the author's profile. So, the author, sino nga yung author kanina? He
Jose
is
I need a man. Jose Garcia Villa.
Yes. He is Jose Garcia Villa. He has won numerous awards, including the 1973 National Artist of the Philippines for Literature. Sabi niya. He is also known as the Beglio. Yun yung pen name niya. Diba? Sabi niyo sa inyo yung pen name. The Beglio. Dapat sa Spanish ang alin niya kasi. Pero the Beglio na. Minsan ang tawag sa kanya. So, he was a Filipino poet, literary critic, short story writer, and a painter. Painter din siya. So, he was awarded the National Artist of the Philippines title for literature in 1973, as well as Guggenheim Fellowship in Creative Writing by Conrad Aiken. Nag-study siya sa Columbia University, that would be New York. Sa New York sa So, his work is both poetry and challenging traditional poetic style. Continues to have an impact in modern poetry, both for members of poetry community and other Asian American writers. So, he is a writer and he is also a influencer. Ayaw niya ng traditional na poem, yung mga may dine, di. Ngayon, gumagamit pa rin siya ng ganon, pero modern na siya. Okay? So, let's move on to the poem. God Said, I Made a Man by Jose Garcia Villa. So, God said, I made a man out of clay, but so bright he spun himself to brightest day, till he was all shining gold, and oh, he was handsome to behold, but in his hands held he a bow. So aimed at me who created him, and said, Wouldst murder me, who am thy fountainhead? Then spoke he, the man of gold, I will not murder thee. I do but measure thee, hold thy peace, and this I did. But I was curious of this regal head. Give thy name, Sir Genius, leaving as heritage this islet, this poem. You and I, this country yours and mine, this child dreaming on the edges of life. So in the poem, please read the first line, Jana.
God said, I made a man out of clay, but so bright he spun himself to brightest day, till he was all shining gold, and oh, he was handsome to behold, but in his hands held the bow.
Okay, so princess, continue.
Aimed at me who created him, and I said, Wouldst murder me, who am
Die. Who am
thy fountainhead?
So other term for die now is used as I. I na siya ngayon. Pero dati, ang word na I is die. So, maririnig niyo yung word na die at saka yung D, T-H-E-E. D means you. And die is I. Okay? So, next line. Jana.
Then spoke he, the man of God, I will not murder thee. I do but measure thee, hold.
Princess.
Thy peace and this I did, but I was curious of this so regal hand. Give thy name, Sir Genius, leaving as heritage this islet, this poem you and I, this country yours and
first line it said, God said, I made a man out of clay, but so bright he spun himself to brightest day. So, God made a man. Sa isip natin, ano yung imagine nyo? Yung ano siya? God made a man out of clay. Pero anong ginawa niya? He spun, sabi niya. Tumalikot siya. Himself to brightest day. Tinalikuran niya yung liwanag. So, till he was shining gold, and oh, he was handsome to behold, but in his hands held he a bow, sabi niya. So, his creation was so shining gold. Ibig sabihin, napakaganda niya. Napakaliwanag niya. Napaka-perfect ng pagkakagawa sa kanya. But in his hands held he a bow. So, meron siyang weapon. So, ibig sabihin, yung ginawa niya, yung ginawa ni God, ay ine-endanger niya yung sarili niya sa creator niya. Diba? The bow symbolizes weapon. Ibig sabihin, yung man na create niya, natatakot siya. Bakit ganun? I-create niya siya. So, in the next line, aimed at me who created him, sabi niya. So, the bow was aimed at the one who created him. And I said, would murder me? Who am I thy fountainhead, sabi niya. So, the bow was aimed at God. But what did God say? Papatayin mo ba ako? Would you murder me? Who am I, thy fountainhead? Ako ang gumawa sa iyo. And then, spoke he the man of gold. Yung taong ginto. Yung perfect. The man that he created. I will not murder thee, sabi niya. I do, but measure thee, sabi niya. Ibig sabihin, hindi niya daw siya papatayin. But, I will measure thee, sabi niya. Hold thy peace, and this I did, sabi niya. Mineasure niya yung faithfulness. I will measure your trust, parang gano'n. While aiming the bow, sabi niya. And this I did, but I was curious of this so regal head, sabi